Making a birdhouse with your own hands isn't very difficult, but it's still a job that requires setting aside some time, gathering materials, and using the right tools. A birdhouse only seems simple at first glance. To make a proper birdhouse, you need to follow a number of important guidelines. Only in this case will we truly benefit our feathered friends. Mistakes made can seriously harm them and even destroy the bird's offspring. Birds bring great benefits to gardens and orchards by eating harmful insects, so attracting them is a very important task. One birdhouse is not enough. You need at least 5 of them. I came up with a way to make 5 birdhouses at once, spending only a little more time than it takes to make just one birdhouse. A multi-story birdhouse saves us time and effort. The Yasha Kosyak Songs channel is always innovating. It seems that in our age, it's almost impossible to come up with something new. But no, it turns out it's still possible. So let's go through everything step by step. Hello, everyone. I call a pseudo-beam a beam made by joining together 4 boards. By cutting the pseudo-beam into blanks, you can noticeably speed up the process of making birdhouses, since it saves time on fitting the body parts. I touched on this method of making them in my previous video about our tall, warm, super productive garden beds. After cutting 2 separate birdhouses from the 2-meter pseudo-beam, I had about 1 meter 40 centimeters left. I need to leave some extra for the roof, so let's say there are 130 useful centimeters. 130 divided by 5 gives us 26 centimeters per apartment. Why do city dwellers live in multi-story human hives? Because such housing is significantly cheaper than individual houses. I decided to apply the same principle to birds. I'm marking out the inner floor partitions. I place the entrances or flight holes at a height of 19.5 centimeters from the bottom. For convenience in further work, I decided to temporarily unscrew the board I chose as the front of the birdhouse. There's a small problem. The boards are thicker than my hole saws can drill, but I've found a solution. Unscrewing the board made it work. The ceiling of one apartment is also the floor of another. That's obvious savings. Everything is precise as in a pharmacy. I step down 3 centimeters from the entrance and drill a hole below the perch. The pseudo-beam is made from planed boards 140 by 27 millimeters. I bought it at a hardware store. After assembly, I used an angle grinder with a flap disc to treat the beam's exterior and slightly round the edges for a more natural, rugged look. I transferred the markings for the dividers onto the ends. I'm cutting dividers from a 115 millimeter wide purchase board. They fit perfectly. No additional fitting needed. I purchased a blank for the perches with a 15 millimeter diameter. My largest drill bit is 10 millimeter and the smallest hole saw I have is 22 millimeter. So I had to use the method of widening the hole and then finishing it with a round file. To make sure the birds only have pleasant feelings from their new home, I additionally sand the perches with sandpaper. After the last video about making birdhouses, experienced craftsmen explained in the comments that you shouldn't make perches. An angry magpie might sit on them and ruin the birdhouse. But I decided to make them anyway. Magpies are very rare here. The birds aren't skittish and build their nests wherever they want. Actually, birdhouse is a general term for artificial homes for birds. Not only starlings settle in them, but also tits, nuthatches, sparrows, and other small birds that can live in tree hollows in nature. The starling is a fairly large bird, and the floor area of a birdhouse for starlings should be at least 20 square centimeters. For these birdhouses, use side panels made from 20 centimeter wide boards. It's harder to find one like that. My birdhouses are probably more suitable for tits and sparrows. Time will tell. The gray modest sparrow also wants to live in safety and comfort. I decided to attach the perches without any glue, just with self-tapping screws. It's really sturdy. And after that, everything is just like making cabinet furniture. A few years ago, I assembled a kitchen set myself. This job reminded me of that job. Here, the cost of an error is lower. One person's space will slightly expand, while another's will marginally shrink. I used the extra furniture fasteners, also called confer mats, left from assembling the kitchen. There's a special confer mat drill bit for confer mats. It's cheap, and I had one too. I use a hex bit to screw in the furniture fasteners. Practice on a birdhouse like this, and you'll be able to assemble your own kitchen too. It's all benefits. I secured each divider with 3 confer mats, one on each of the 3 sides. An uninitiated person will see it and definitely think it's some kind of shelf. But the facade puts everything in its place. This is undoubtedly a multi-story birdhouse. I love working with an angle grinder and a flap disc. This time, I put on a disc with finer grit. I recently discovered discs like these exist. My old man got it at a marketplace for just 10 Belarusian rubles, under 300 Russian rubles. It grinds rougher than a flap disc, but bites in much harder. How long will it last? What's its lifespan? The roof can be gable style like a house or single pitched like a small shed. I'm opting for a gable roof. A multi-story birdhouse has one roof for all 5 floors and only 4 sidewall pieces, compared to 20 sidewall pieces in 5 separate birdhouses. It looks like someone already wants to move in. To make the slopes identical, one blank should be narrower than the other by the thickness of the board. This type of birdhouse should seem more natural to birds, as it resembles a tree trunk more closely. The Chinese brothers weren't always as smart as they are now. They've gotten much smarter over the past few decades. Just remember how, in the 1950s, they exterminated poor sparrows, which led to a terrible famine when there was no one left to fight caterpillars and locusts. They begrudged the sparrows a little grain and ended up with a disastrous result. Later, they even bought sparrows from the Soviet Union. We Belarusians respect sparrows. Just look at the kind of Khrushchevkas we build for them. And what do you think about that, Elon Musk? It's best to place a birdhouse with the entrance facing east. That way, the rays of the rising sun will warm the birds' homes more quickly. The eastern wall of our bathhouse utility building is perfect for this. The garden will soon turn green and shield the home from direct sunlight. You can buy everything you need for birdhouses at a hardware store. Here in Belarus, it seems like they're testing the craftsmen for endurance. When they display such a selection in hardware hypermarkets and right at the entrance too. For some people, their trip to the store might end right there. Perhaps I should forget about that birdhouse. I wonder if it's like this everywhere now or just here? I nearly forgot something crucial. Since I used plan boards, the chicks might have trouble leaving the birdhouse, so an important modification is needed. At the same time, I make sure that I can open the birdhouse easily if I need to clean or maintain it. I make notches on the front walls of the compartments. I'm almost sure that the new home won't stay without tenants. In our yard, birds build nests wherever they want, on the roof, under the ondulin, in the thujas, even in the round metal fence posts. After strong winds, chicks fall out and nests get blown away. In brief, it's a total mess. New rental housing will certainly be useful to help organize things. No one asks chickens if they enjoy living in their coop. Seems fine. You can't spoil porridge with butter, let them just try to get stuck. You can make new birdhouses any time of the year. For example, sparrows can have offspring 2 or 3 times a season. In winter, birds can use birdhouses for shelter, but the classic time for making birdhouses is the end of March or the beginning of April. Our crocuses are blooming wildly, so it's the perfect time to make birdhouses. In my view, it's the ideal spot. For extra reliability, I decided to screw in 4 hooks at once. I decided to hang it with wire. I'm attaching the wire to the front part of the birdhouse. This way, it shouldn't swing. Maybe not all birds will want to go up to these floors. Some people also won't go into high rises. And for some, the main thing is the couch. And whether the couch is on the 20th floor or in your own house, that's not important. The wire turned out to be too short, so I redid it and added a piece of board at the very top. With it, the birdhouse will now hang more steadily. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Yasha Koshak Songs channel, my V Contacta group, and Zen. Links are below the video. Hit the bell to stay informed. Let there be peace all over the world. Thank you.